Like to call to order the Wyoming Valley West School District regular April meeting on Wednesday, April 8th at, oh boy, 7:22. I deeply apologize for the board start. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Mr. Damascus,
Here.
Mr. Bellio,
Here.
Mr. Nicholson,
Here.
Ms. Levesque,
Here.
Mr. Perfetto,
Here.
Mr. Kubuski,
Here.
Mrs. Cassatt, Mr. Camus.
Here. A moment of silence followed by the salute to our flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I'd like to announce there was a executive session held prior to this meeting to discuss multiple vendor contracts. Yeah, that's all it was, just multiple vendor contracts. Student representatives, Brianna O'Kane, please.
Mackenzie Karnecki, Liam Corbett, Mackenzie Doris, and Victor Miranda were selected by faculty as seniors of the month for the month. The students were honored at lunch with a faculty guest of their choosing. They received a certificate from administration, and their photograph will be featured in the local newspaper and on the high school webpage. Congratulations, seniors. Congratulations to Ariel Chu and Evangeline Dick for being named the Citizens Voice Scholastic Superstar Class of 2026. They are part of a 25-member class chosen by a panel of judges from nominations submitted by many of the school districts in the Citizens Voice coverage area. There will be a student feature in the Citizens Voice after the ceremony. The students will receive the Citizens Voice Scholastic Superstars medals during a ceremony at 6 p.m. Wednesday, April 22nd at the Burke Auditorium, McGowan Building at King's College Public Square in Wilkes-Barre. The Unified Track and Field Meet is scheduled for Thursday, April 9th at Heber Field at the Wyoming Valley West High School. The Fans in Stands event will begin at 1:30 p.m. The Career Exploration course is taking a travel training trip through LCTA to learn how to ride the bus. Their destination is LCCC, where they will be taking a tour of LCCC's trades buildings. Thank you to LCTA and LCCC for being our community partners. The sophomore party is Friday, April 10th, from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Doubletree Hilton. On Friday, April 10th and Saturday, April 11th, the high school is hosting the PMEA District Jazz Fest. The senior and junior prom ticket sales are on sale during all lunches through April 10th. The cost of the ticket is $75 per person. Prom is at Genetti's on Friday, May 8th from 5 to 10 p.m. Miss Finnegan and Mr. Mahalik will be attending the Junior Achievement Inspired Career Exploration Experience at Mohegan, Pennsylvania and Wilkes-Barre with high school juniors and seniors. The high school is sending 160 students on Wednesday, April 15th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The WVW Middle and High School Student Councils are hosting the 2026 PASC Region H Conference at the high school on Friday, April 17th. The event will have close to 600 students attending from 27 school districts, and the event will feature student-led workshops, a career and vendor fair, and keynote speakers. The National Honor Society induction ceremony is Wednesday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. in the high school gymnasium. And the French and National Spanish Honor Society induction ceremony is on Tuesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. in the high school auditorium.
Thank you very much, Brianna. Mr. Navraki, please.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Suppan and members of the Board of Education. Tonight we are finalizing the decision on our new reading series, our K-5 reading series. This was a process that began about a year ago, and I would like to acknowledge some instrumental people in the process. A little bit of background. Act 135 in Pennsylvania addresses literacy in PA schools and was passed in 2024. Act 47, which was passed this past year in 2025, built upon Act 135, which addresses all the required components of teaching reading, and our new series that we chose covers all the pieces required. To our reading committee, I'd like to thank them for their thoughtful work in selecting a new reading series. Their time, dedication, and care throughout this process is truly appreciated. The professionalism and reliability that was demonstrated was outstanding and did not go unnoticed. I would really like to thank Mr. John Sharkus, who's standing behind me, our district department chair, for leading the committee. His organization and guidance was exceptional and played a key role in making this process so successful. So I would like to turn things over to John at this time for a brief synopsis of the process and the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Navracki. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Suppan. I'm John Sharkus, District Level English Department Chair. Thanks for the opportunity to serve the district in this capacity and allowing me to speak tonight on the process that Mr. Navracki just discussed, selecting a K-5 reading series. He talked a lot about the need for that process. I'll get into just some of the stops along the way in terms of our evaluation. The first step was to assemble a team that Mr. Navracki mentioned. Building principals were consulted to assemble this team of educators throughout the district to represent each building, grade, and unique population within our district. We separated that team into, well, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. Once we selected the team was polled to select the products that we would evaluate. So based off of research that was available, state-to-state research, Pennsylvania state research, Reading League, Ed Reports, all of those metrics that are out there. Ultimately, the committee decided upon 3 products to evaluate. They were Amplify's Core Knowledge and Language Acquisition Series, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt's Into Reading Series, and McGraw-Hill's Emerge Reading Series. The process that we unfolded from there, the team was split up into subcommittees to evaluate each product more intimately. We were able to run pilots of each, 2 volunteer teachers for each product, ran 8-week pilots in their classrooms to test the products and gain firsthand knowledge. They received some intimate professional development with that as well. Beyond that, evaluators were assigned, so classroom teachers were put into the role of evaluators. They received sample materials. They were tasked with sourcing opinions from colleagues and sharing those materials to sort of serve as a choke point to bring feedback to the larger committee. And then each team had two intervention specialists as well, designated Title I teachers or special education teachers. And their focus was, of course, evaluating each series, focusing specifically on its adaptability and Tier 2, Tier 3 intervention capabilities. Several presentations were offered throughout the entire process. Mr. Navracki mentioned it took about a year, a little bit longer, but there were brief overviews. There were check-ins with various members of the teams, and it was culminated with a large group presentation, a final sales pitch from each of the publishers to sort of walk through any kind of issues that our committee was able to bring to their attention at that time. We did meet several times as committees as well. In groups of various sizes. We met as pilot teachers to share feedback on the observations from the pilot programs. We met in evaluation teams specific to the series to discuss the findings. All 3 pilot teachers, evaluators, and intervention specialists to sort of pull and come together with anecdotal evidence that we put together in collaborative Google Forms. After the meetings and discussions occurred, a Microsoft form was used to provide numerical data for us. Basically, the rubric that's provided. Mr. Rock, did you? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the copies of the rubric that you have were broken down numerically, and then of course that allowed the committee to sort of see the numbers behind their feedback. The parameters for those evaluations, just in case anybody was wondering, it's an amalgamation of Ed Report's review tool and the Reading League's review tool. They are two of the highest rated review tools in the country. Ed Reports tends to be a little bit more quantitative. You know, it's a general sort of overview. It evaluates a lot of different aspects, and the Reading League tends to be a little bit more qualitative in a sense that it basically it rigidly ties itself to the science of reading, which is the driving force behind the acts that Mr. Navraki had mentioned in the state of Pennsylvania and the change in the state of Pennsylvania. Our phases for evaluation were threefold. We had phase 1, which were foundational skills and word recognition. Phase 2, which was comprehension through text, questions, and tasks. And phase 3 was teacher and student support systems available within each series. So those, as well as an overall grade that was assigned to each series. After the process concluded, which was delayed for a time, the committee found that Houghton Mifflin Harcourt's Inter-Reading series was the series that was best suited for students and teachers of our district. Generally speaking, Inter-Reading is a knowledge-based ELA K-5 series with a foundational component that shows promise beyond foundations. The series possesses AI tools that allow students to practice individually based on ability levels related to reading and reading comprehension. It's an individualized tool. Mira is a program that allows students to read to an AI coach that will provide specific student feedback to increase reading development and skill building toward fluency. The series possesses other strong diagnostic capabilities related to marginalized student populations and differentiated learning styles. It is in its third version and has been a stalwart in top 5 rankings around the state and country. An added perk is its inclusion of financial standards that will help our district address needs related to financial literacy in accordance with state guidance there as well. Beyond those basics provided, the team data collected regarding Inter-Reading, it was the most consistently positively reviewed of the series that we examined. Several teachers explicitly said that it was their preferred choice or the best choice. Some of the other strengths that were mentioned, text and materials were described as high interest, age appropriate, visually engaging, and more eye-catching than competitors, while still supporting science and social studies content. Teachers frequently praise alignment with science of reading, robust phonics, and assessments that are skill-aligned rather than based on memorization of a weekly story. Usability stands out as well. Comments highlighted clear teacher supports, manageable website design, integrated print and digital resources, and strong professional development within class modeling and coaching that was provided. The overall score out of a possible 10 that the overall committee awarded to Inter-Reading was a 7.6, which was the highest among the 3 that were evaluated. The conclusion that we drew at the district, as the district level department chair for English and Language Arts and the facilitator of this process, I certified to Dr. Suppan, Mr. Navraki, and to the Board of Education that the evaluation was conducted in a fair and unbiased manner. Based on the committee's findings, I submit Inter-Reading to the Board of Education and to the administration of Wyoming Valley West School District as the recommended choice of K-5 English Language Arts curriculum. And we are seeking a approval for the 6-year contract. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sharkis. Thank you, Mr. Navraki.
Can I ask a question? So with this new series, have we established a baseline today and then to measure its effectiveness 1 year, 2 year, 5 years down the road? Like what will we use to measure if it was the right choice?
There is we'll of course be able to use state testing, the CDT exams, Firefly exams that are being used throughout the district as well, which will measure whether or not the standards are taking hold. There are also built-in diagnostic tools within the program itself that will measure student progress as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you very much, both of you. Very much. Well, with much anticipation, I'd like to welcome ICS for the first phase of the feasibility study, please.
Just give us a minute to pull this up.
Absolutely, take your time.
All right. Oh, good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Guider with ICS. I'm joined by Cody West, also from ICS, Randy Galliotto from Alloy 5 Architects, and James Margata as well. So they'll be coming up and joining me in the presentation and the Q&A at the end. Really, what we're here today is just a checkpoint, right? We started this process a couple months ago, and we wanted to get in front of you and just give you a snapshot of where we are and then where we're going in this whole district-wide feasibility study process. So the agenda for tonight is, we'll go through kind of the purpose of developing a 10-year plan, some about our process, specifically for facility assessments and all the information and data that we've collected so far. So we want to give you an idea of all the work that's gone into it in the last couple months. We'll also share this energy benchmark that we've completed, demographic and capacity analysis that we're working on right now. And then we'll wrap up with building by building report cards of where we sit from a facility condition standpoint, capacity, and educational standpoint. And we'll talk about next steps. So really the purpose here of us doing this long-range facility plan with you folks collaboratively is to take all this information, identify all the goals that you have educationally, facilities-wise, and really put together a financially viable plan, right? That's the goal here, is that we come out of this and you're able to put a plan in place that you can afford, that addresses most of the needs that you've identified and the priorities that you've identified. So really, we've got a pretty good process for doing that, which we're going to share here. It starts with really focusing on information gathering first, right? That's why we've spent the last 2+ months just focusing on that. And we're going to go through all that data here shortly, but also communicating what we're doing along the way, right? That's one of the reasons why we're here today. We'll be back more and more as we get more information and start working through the process. We've also engaged a lot of your internal stakeholders at this point. We'll share some of that information coming up here shortly. We've also done full assessments of all your buildings. We've surveyed all of your school buildings and all of your support buildings. We've captured as much data as we possibly can, and we folded that into our analysis. So as we're wrapping this information gathering step up, which we're about 90% of the way, I'd say, we're going to be moving into the next phase, which is really decision making, right? So we're going to be working through a lot of different options and alternatives for you folks. We're going to evaluate the funding possibilities for the district, and then ultimately help you along with making a decision on an actionable plan. Our facility assessment process, you'll hear this a lot, but we focus on the data first, right? We don't want to draw any conclusions before we have all the data to support those conclusions. We want a complete picture of what's going on in the district. So we want to take all the facility needs, the demographic and enrollment projections, your current capacities, and your educational program, future educational programs, and roll that all into one capital plan that you can work towards in the end. We have a software that we use that your team will have access to, and we can continually update and work on as we progress in this plan. But this kind of outlines this process, which really, again, it's all about taking all the data, compiling all the data, and then using that and analyzing it to come up with smart options for you folks. So this slide has a lot on it, but I'm going to start on the top left here. But all of this information feeds into that 10-year plan. So what we started with in the top left is any of the previous facility assessments that have been done. And there were several done in the last 10 to 15 years. So we pulled all that information. That was kind of our starting point. We also, in parallel, kind of moving to the right, worked with Mark Sobek to do a district-wide roof analysis. So all that information is available now and is being put into our data and will be part of the plan going forward. We were able to reach out to and work with a lot of your internal stakeholders. So not only the principals, but custodians from each of the buildings, your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing crews. We got surveys back that were very complete, really gave us a lot of information. Also had a chance to sit down with each principal and talk specifically about their building needs and priorities, which was a really good step for all of us to hear it from people who are in and out of the building day in and day out. We also have worked with the your elevator vendor, TKE, on information that they have and their priorities. We've taken all of your environmental reports, and that's going into our plan as we're coming up with these options. We just, in the last week or two, got the final enrollment projections from Sundance Associates, who were hired as a separate third party to do a whole demographic study, look at historical enrollments, and then project what future enrollments will look like. That's coming up on a slide here shortly. As I mentioned, we stepped foot in every building and did our complete building evaluation. With that, we've also created updated floor plans for all the buildings. That'll be made available to the district folks and the board members as this assessment becomes complete. And then last but not least, we also, as part of our assessment, we want to look at all of your utility data and your electricity, natural gas usage, and determine kind of where you sit and where there might be opportunities for some savings along the way. So starting with that, we did complete an energy benchmark. These are the results of that benchmark. You could see kind of on the left-hand side, all of your energy using pieces of equipment, electricity with kilowatt hours, and your natural gas heating systems. We've taken all that information, converted into BTUs, and then we normalize that on a building by building basis by dividing that by square footage. So you get what's called an energy use intensity, or an EUI. And you can see the results of that on the right-hand side. The higher the number, the less efficient the building is. The lower the number, the more efficient the building is. So at the top there is the high school. That's at an 89, followed by the central office, Dana Street, and 3rd Ave. And then you could see one of your newer buildings, State Street, as the most efficient at this point. The EUI is one thing, but you also have to compare that to the spend. So even though some of the buildings may be less efficient than others, because of the size of the building, they may not actually have a lot of cost that goes along with them. So the high school is your largest building and has the worst EUI. So there is a significant amount of opportunity there from an energy standpoint. And then also you can see kind of some of the other schools there and the total spend that they have. But you spend roughly, between gas and electricity, about $250,000 a year in the high school, and there's some opportunity there. Stepping into the demographic results. So this is, again, this was provided by Sundance Associates, the third party. What this shows is the historical enrollment history. So from the early 2000s up until 2017, you can kind of see that steady decrease in enrollment, which then after 2017 and until now has been, the trend has shifted towards a slight increase that you can notice there. And we've got some data here on the slide, and then there's the full report that's made available to all of you folks as well. But you'll see that the trend shifted, and on the next slide we'll show the projections. But the projection is that this trend will continue. Some of the other items that we look at is, as a percent of population, what the student enrollment looks like. That has decreased mildly up until, again, recently, where it's increased and started to go up. It's something to keep track of going forward. Also, students per housing unit seems to have, that's been decreasing up until this more recent trend going forward, where it's turned to increasing. So those are a couple things that could be contributing to this. We've also noted Sundance in their report. They've also noted that the live births have shifted as well over the last 4 years in the area. So these are all things that feed into the enrollment projections, which I'll show on the next slide. So that was all historical data. Then we take that and look at the next 5 years, which you'll see in that dark green in the center, and then the following 5 to 10 years as well. And generally, the projections made by this demographer and others using the methodology that they use, they're plus or minus 1% per year. So That cone that you see, that orange cone, is kind of that sensitivity of plus or minus 1% each year that you go out. So usually the first 5 years are pretty accurate, but then 5 to 10 years out, obviously you're going to get less and less accurate. So we do recommend that every three to 5 years to update the demographic analysis as you work through plans. But-
Excuse me, could you
yep.
go back one slide?
Sure.
I'm just looking at the numbers. Thank you.
So the growth is expected to continue over the next 5 years and into the next 10 years as well. One note that each of the buildings, we know we've looked at, the floor plans and the uses of the buildings, and we know with the expected enrollment growth that they're over capacity. So as we start working through some options, we're going to obviously look at additional square footage and possibly, some new building options. That'll be a whole step in itself. Again, we're not there yet with this whole decision-making process we talked about earlier, but as we get to options to address the capacity needs, you'll see some additional square footage that we work with. So with that, we're going to talk about each building individually in those building report cards that I referenced earlier. I'm going to have Randy and James step in here and take over for the next section.
Thank you all. So part of our logic with presenting to you the building evaluations was to do it in a manner that you can understand, and weren't standing here at the podium for hours and hours talking all night. So you'll see, we looked at all 10 of your buildings, 6 of your educational buildings, and 4 of your non-educational buildings. And we developed a color-rated system so you could easily look at these report cards and see what's good and what's bad. So if you look at that screen and you see a dark green, that's excellent. A lime green, that's good. Yellow is average. Orange is poor. And then red is critical. You have to stop and take a look at it. And what I'm presenting and what we're presenting here is a summary of all of your buildings. So to the left are your educational buildings. And when we're evaluating your educational buildings, we're looking at 3 key components. Capacity, Tim just talked about that. If you go down that capacity column, you'll see 1 green, a lot of orange, and a lot of red because you are out of space. From a condition standpoint, that's the middle column. That's really where we're crawling through your buildings and looking at all those conditions. We had dozens of professionals here, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, structural engineers, and architects looking at all of your buildings, and we've developed what you're going to see in the later report cards, more of a detailed summary of each building. So those conditions, you'll see State Street is like the baseline we use to compare all of your facilities to. You'll see that as green and the rest average to poor. Your program, we looked at your educational program. Tim mentioned that as well. How well do your buildings fit today's educational programs and the baseline that State Street presents? And you'll see that those are average or below average. And then the condition of your non-educational facilities are average to poor, and I think that's obvious by going through those. I'll turn it over to James to go through each building. Happy to take questions here. You'll find a lot of redundancy from here out because we did evaluate each building the same exact way with the same exact logic.
Hi, everybody. I'm James Margotto with Alloy 5. I was part of the team that was like boots on the ground for about a week across all the buildings. So I'm going to run through each of what we call, as Randy mentioned, we developed this report card. The report card has 6 categories in it that you'll see, 6 major categories, starting from site to building envelope to architecture to mechanical to electrical and plumbing. Within those categories, there's additional breakdowns that you will see the color system that Randy referenced. So we'll start with Chester Street Elementary. 29,200 square foot building, relatively smaller elementary school. The site portion of that, for those of you that are familiar with, I'm sure you are, is a little bit of a congestion and a bottleneck with the parking, especially at drop-off times for buses and parents. The parking is a tad confusing between Chester Street and the elementary or the middle school across the street. The big thing with Chester is the lack of ADA code compliance on the outside. and on the inside also. The envelope, I'm just going to kind of highlight a few things across the categories. The envelope, again, is kind of consistent with this age, but showing orange interior walls and exterior doors and windows. The architecture piece, which is the third category over, highlights there is the kind of casework and student storage, classroom storage is kind of overflowed out into the hallway. And then the big piece there that I mentioned earlier is the ADA compliance across the building. The bathrooms are on the lowest level. There's no accessible way to get there. The entrance doesn't necessarily have any sort of ramps or ways to get a wheelchair into that space. But it's consistent with, this age of the building, mechanically, electrically, and plumbing. You'll see a good amount of oranges in the mechanical section. Boilers are in good shape with green. Big thing across these older buildings are the generators under the electrical piece. They're, 50 plus years old and not functioning. And then the plumbing piece, nothing super sticks out there. Your domestic water and piping is in the orange category along with your fire protection and plumbing fixtures. Dana Street, a little bit of a bigger elementary school. There has been ADA address, it has been addressed that there's, a ramp that goes to the side of the building, but similar setup, not as easy to get from floor to floor in Dana Street. The exterior walls showed, decent signs of need for repair with the brick. The roof of the schools is in the orange category. Roof is kind of near the end of its life. The air distribution, the kind of exposed radiators within the classrooms are a big issue. You'll see that as red. And then same stuff as like the other Chester Street. The generators, not functioning and over 50 years old. Plumbing is generally pretty average. State Street, like Randy and Tim mentioned, it's kind of your baseline. Your newest school had a renovation, I believe, in 2011, 2012, an addition. So you'll see a lot of greens, a lot of shades of greens here. But you're 10 to 15 years into that. You're starting to see some yellows, some things that have that average life cycle that are starting to turn over. And then Third Ave is just your kindergarten center. Small school, but not as old as some of the other schools. Like I think it's a 1950s construction. Big thing similar at Third Ave as Chester is kind of like getting in there, as probably. The wayfinding is a little bit confusing with parking and kind of drop off. We were there on a day during, the buses trying to get through back to that street. But the building as a whole seems pretty well maintained. A lot of it's original, like the interior finishes are a lot of them are original, but it definitely seems like it's been taken care of, but they're 75-ish years old in some cases. You'll see, a good amount of oranges in the mechanical section. Same problem with the generators here, big red dots that stick out. Generators age past its useful lifetime and not functioning. And then plumbing, nothing to highlight there other than the domestic water and sanitary, the pipes that take stuff in and out of the building are in poor condition. Moving to the middle school, the building we're in right now, you'll see the mechanical category jumps out as all greens. You invested in upgrading that category within the last two to 3 years. So you'll see that kind of reflected there. Similar issues as what we talked about with Chester is that confusion and that site bottlenecking between the two schools. Your building envelope is relatively good with the exception of doors and windows. So the windows are a big thing here. I know there's a bunch of different phases of the windows, but in particular, there's probably a quarter of them that don't fully close. We were here on a cold day. There was a noticeable draft. The hardware is, not functioning, so there's a little bit of a closure issue. And then your electrical and plumbing, nothing to highlight. The generator's in good condition here, which is not unlike the last few schools. So the middle school's in decent shape. The high school, your largest school, you're probably going to see the most oranges here. The site conditions aren't great. The ADA compliance, like there's pieces of ADA there to get in and out of the school, like with ramps and stuff, but there's just so many entrances and exits, doors, windows. There's a lot of pieces that, would need to be brought up to code. In a lot of places, the windows and metal panels that make up the outside of the building are in critical condition. There's noticeable rusting, worse in some place than others. The interior, like, architecture on the inside, a lot of oranges. You'll see the doors, just the lifespan of those doors have been used heavily, and, it's noticeable. Mechanical, you'll see the most orange here. It's all, in poor condition. Electrical, plumbing, similar, nothing critically sticking out. Moving to the support building, so the central office, similar time frame to, some of your other schools like Dana and your neighborhood schools that are still being used. ADA compliance is a major issue. Similarly, there's no kind of ramp or any way to get in from the, parking lot. Your envelope have similar issues with windows and doors, weather seals. The architecture on the inside, again, code compliance, no way to really get between the floors with the bathrooms, the main communal bathrooms, I believe, in the lowest level. Your mechanical, similar to the high school, you'll see a lot of oranges there just across the board. And then the generator piece here, the emergency equipment and the transfer switch, similar to your other schools. Durkee Street, again, I think it was a former neighborhood school, so it has that ADA compliance issue. It's kind of not accessed off street level. The roof on Durkee Street is a big one that sticks out, the warehouse, or, seems like that's in critical condition. Security and entrance, it's very open and kind of confusing to get there and not secure. And then same thing, ADA code compliance for the inside. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing there, you kind of see same thing, a lot of the same stuff we've been saying for the rest of the buildings. The wellness center, parking is lacking there. It's a relatively new, there was some recent roof project there to get bids on that. So the roof right now is in critical condition. I believe it's being addressed. The doors and windows are in good condition there. It seems like that was part of, a project that was done within the last 5 to 10 years. Security and entrance, the interior ADA code compliance, it has a lift, but the time we were there, it wasn't operational. I believe it's something to do with inspection. So that is why you see that in orange, and you might say, yeah, there's a lift there. I remember doing that project. And then mechanical, electrical, plumbing, similar to your other schools and other buildings. And last but not least, former St. Stephen's Rectory, which is a former house. So, a lot of the stuff that you would imagine in your own home, like, you don't necessarily have ADA bathrooms in your own home. So that stuff would kind of need to be addressed, and you'll see reds and ADA code compliance, and you'll see missing categories here because it's a former home. So there's grayed out pieces, which, is in the key there, but that means it's not necessarily at this building, like boilers, or there's no generator there. But, some greens in the plumbing category. Overall, it's in okay shape. So I just spit out a lot at you. Any questions, or anyone want me to go back to any piece of this?
No, that's just a lot of information.
Yeah, how can we get a copy of this to kind of digest it? I kind of wish I would have had it before this meeting. I may have had some better questions for it, but there's a lot of data here.
A lot of data.
You could send that to Dr. Supine. We're obviously going to put this on our website, so we can share it with the public.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'll send everybody a PDF, a digital copy.
Okay, great. I'll turn it, there's no questions. We'll open up to Q&A after, but Tim's going to kind of finish this.
Yeah. Hey, just 2 more slides here, guys. So a lot of information. Again, this is a snapshot in time. We're still working through this. This is not final by any means, but so we've done a lot. We've checked a lot off the list the last couple months. All the assessments and everything here that we've listed. We're also working on all the replacement cost estimates. Currently, that's still ongoing. We're getting close to finish there. We're going to take all that deferred maintenance for all the buildings, and we're going to take a value of that, look at what the next 5 to 10 years value of what needs to be addressed there, and compare that to cost of new construction of buildings, right? So we're going to look at what are called facility condition indexes, and we'll bring that back to the board to look at as on a portfolio basis. So you'll see, the higher percentage means, hey, like, you've got a high percentage of what you need to replace versus within the building in terms of maintenance versus the replacement cost of a new building. And there are certain thresholds out there, like 60 or 70%. You might want to start thinking about rebuilding versus investing in an older building that might not make sense. So that's all stuff that we're working on and we'll bring to the board as we have that all finalized. We are coordinating with your financial advisor, FSL, as well, to review different funding scenarios. At this point, we've discussed scenarios ranging in the 100 million to 300 million plus range with all the need that you guys have in the district. So we're trying to determine how much you can actually get done and how many priorities you can check off the list with available funding. And all those options we're working on collaboratively with the administration. We'll be bringing that back to the board. So next steps here, finalize that facility condition assessment and all the cost estimates, develop options to address the facility, the educational and the capacity needs like we talked about, review all those funding options and any limitations. And then usually it's iterative at that point, right? We're going to refine the capital project scope based on priority and funding, and then review implementation options once we get closer to that decision-making process. So with that, we'll answer any other questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions this evening? Well, Tim, I would like to thank you and the team. I mean, that's remarkable. And that's a lot of information right there. Very exciting to see where we're all at. We all sit here, we all work the building, walk around the buildings, we all hear stories about the buildings, but this is pretty nice to see. So
Yep.
We really appreciate the hard work.
And we appreciate it. It's been great working with the administration and the staff here too. They've been really helpful with getting us information as we need it. So we really appreciate the time. Thanks for having us here tonight. We'll be back with more information next time.
So Tim, may I
Yeah.
ask you, like, when do you think we'll finally get the full gamut where we'll get our final presentation? Do you have an idea of timeline wise?
Yeah, so I would say what we'll usually come back in probably that May timeframe with a draft, right? I wouldn't call it final because we still want to get some feedback as we go, right? Like,
Okay.
so we're gonna try to get a draft together for the administration to review, and it may be distributed for review to the board. And depending on where we land in May, that's probably that timeframe when we'd have a more advanced version of this feasibility study. But as you can see, there's going to be a lot of options that we're going to want to work through. So by no means will we come back and say, this is what you should do at that point. This will be, here's a bunch of options, and then we got to work through the process from there.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Very exciting.
Yep. All right,
Anyone
thank you.
else have anything at all?
No,
Thank you.
to just see, what you're going to send us and just look at it a little closer, but
Yeah.
a lot of information to
Dr.
take
Paul,
in, but
get
thank
on
you.
Website?
Yeah, I'll have it on the website and I'll have it sent to you guys by tomorrow.
Awesome.
Dr. Suppan, can I just request a paper copy?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
You can print it off in color.
yeah, 100%.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you,
Great.
gentlemen,
Yep.
very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Superintendent's comments. Dr. Supa.
Good evening, Spartans. As we approach the start of the fourth quarter this Friday, it is truly remarkable to reflect on just how much we have accomplished together so far this school year. From significant security upgrades across our buildings to an unprecedented number of grant-funded projects, we continue to move our district forward in a meaningful and responsible ways. Our commitment to providing safe, innovative, and supportive learning environments remains stronger than ever. At the same time, our students continue to excel both in the classroom and in competition. Whether it is academic achievements or athletic success, our Spartans consistently represent our district with pride, determination, and excellence. Their accomplishments are a direct reflection of the hard work of our staff, the support of our families, and the resilience of our students. We're also actively pursuing millions of additional dollars in grant funding to ensure we remain fiscally responsible while still meeting the growing needs of our district. By leveraging alternative funding sources, we're able to enhance opportunities for our students without placing additional burden on our taxpayers. This work is ongoing, strategic, and essential to our long-term success. One exciting example of this effort is our partnership with Larksville as we pursue a highly competitive grant to build a state-of-the-art playground at State Street. This project is designed with inclusion at its core, featuring sensory elements and full wheelchair accessibility so that all our young Spartans, regardless of ability, can learn, play, and grow together. We are incredibly proud of this collaboration and hopeful for what it will bring to our community if awarded. We also recently hosted our Title I Parent and Family Engagement STEAM event at the middle school, and it was a tremendous success. It was truly exciting to see students, families, staff, and community members all together, engaged, learning, and enjoying themselves. Events like this highlight the power of collaboration and the importance of bringing all stakeholders together to support our students in meaningful and memorable ways. You may also notice a number of policies listed on the upcoming board agenda. I want to emphasize that these are all first reading stage. Policies require 2 readings before they become official, with the second reading anticipated in May. The majority of these policies come directly from our legal team at PSBA, and many are mandated updates or minor language adjustments to ensure compliance and clarity. We will continue to keep the community informed throughout the process. As we move into the spring season, I strongly encourage everyone to come out and support our student athletes. Our teams are competing with pride, sportsmanship, and true Spartan spirit. Their dedication is inspiring, and your support makes a meaningful difference. This week, we also have the privilege of hosting author Stanley Tucker in our district. I had the opportunity to watch him engage with our students at Chester Street and State Street, and it was truly special. His energy, connection with the children, and the ability to inspire were nothing short of incredible. Our students were fully engaged and having an absolute blast. We are hopeful to bring him back next year again. Tomorrow, we will host our Unified Track event, and I cannot be more excited. Unified Track is a Special Olympics-style sport designed to promote social inclusion by pairing athletes of similar abilities, regardless of whether they have disabilities, on the same team. It creates an environment where all participants can compete, learn, and build meaningful relationships. I wish all of our athletes the very best of luck, and I know they'll represent our district with excellence. Finally, I want to remind our entire community that this Friday, we're encouraging everyone to wear Spartan Strong gear or any Spartan Wyoming Valley West clothing in honor of the 2 students we tragically lost in a fire. They will always be remembered as Spartans, and in times like this, we are reminded that Spartans always stick together. This is an opportunity for us to stand united, show our support, and honor their memory as one community. Thank you for your continued support and partnership. Together, we have accomplished so much, and there is still so much more ahead. We are and will continue to be a destination district. And as always, go Spartans.
Thank you, Dr. Suppan, very much. Statements from interested citizens. Ms. Groza, please.
Good evening, and thank you, Board. Amy Carroza from 44. There's a packed agenda, and I think it's super exciting. I really appreciated that ICS study, so I do hope it goes on the website because that was a ton of information, but all really, really good stuff. And I was so happy to see the bleachers project that we're going to have a visitor side potentially soon. That's super awesome. I know many people will be excited about that. The only question I had was for item 51, the approve affiliation agreement between the University of Scranton and Wyoming Valley West School District. Is that like a dual enrollment thing? And I apologize. I normally look at the supporting documents. I just didn't have time tonight.
I'm going to have Mr. Navraki come up and talk on that. Is that
Okay.
I believe the agreement with the University of Scranton has to do with our student teaching and student observers. Every time we partner with a new university or college, over the last few years, they've been sending agreements to us. So we had Attorney Messinger take a look at that.
Yeah, and that's common with even like Marywood, Wilkes, Kings, whoever you're getting student teachers from.
So it's not the dual enrollment piece. It has to do with, right.
Thank you, Mr. Navraki.
Ms. Groza, are you good? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Navraki, for the explanation. May I have a motion to approve the regular March 11th, 2026 board meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Mr. DeBascus.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Camus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeBascus. Contracts and personnel. I would like to announce that a few meetings that we have had, March 23rd, we had another teacher's contract negotiation meeting. It's going well. Our next teacher's contract is next week, April 13th.
Yep.
April 13th. So very optimistic that that's going to go very well. Hopefully we'll have conclusion here very shortly. I'd also like to announce that we are starting our Act 93 contract. We have our first meeting tomorrow at district office, so that's pretty exciting. And I'd also like to know if, just as it's in our, so a lot of this is in our agenda this evening, is we had a buildings and grounds meeting on the 1st of April. We've been working pretty hard on this. I mean, buildings and ground team's doing a lot. Apollo's helping us out a lot. Dave Scortis has been extremely busy this month. There's a lot of good projects on here. I hope everybody had a time to take a look at it and read it. I don't know, pretty exciting. A lot of stuff we're moving forward. That's all I have. Any questions, especially on the buildings and grounds report? Mr. Wilson, another finance committee. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Camus. So the finance committee, opened up a new account, bank account for the new sponsorships for Daktronics. So any sponsorships that we receive, we're going to deposit into that account. That's our new scoreboards for our athletic facilities. We deposited $10,000 so far, and the district currently has 4 anchor sponsorships. So as that money comes in, we will deposit in those accounts. We also transferred, budgeted $1 million into the capital projects accounts. And then, if you take notice to the finance recommended action number 2, if approved, we have received investment schedule from Fidelity Bank to invest, $15 million into treasuries that on a staggered schedule, it'll, receive an additional $123,000 in interest income. So, I mean, everything we're talking about tonight with the feasibility study, all this is going to cost, money, and we got to continue to spend wisely here and, make good investments. Rob and his finance team is working on the budget, which will be proposed next month. So we need to continue to watch every dollar and spend wisely here. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, very, very much.
Mr. Wilson, the money from the Daktronics, is that going to go specifically to support our athletics, or does it go into a general fund, or?
It's going to be correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, it'll go in a separate fund.
So-
Go ahead.
Do you want to go?
It's in a separate bank account in the general fund. I mean, I think we were gonna use it to offset the cost of the scoreboards.
That was the plan. It's 10,000 for 5 years, and it was going to be to offset what we spent for the scoreboards, because it pretty much, if we get the 6 anchor sponsors, it covers almost the entire cost.
Okay, thanks.
And I just want to add one thing. I just found out on the way over here. That's why it's not in any speeches or anything, but I think it's important to know we were just awarded another 30,000 in grants from Geisinger for STEM-based initiatives. We wrote the grant to equip all our elementary schools with wireless headphones. So when teachers are reading stories, it blocks out and cancels all outside noise, and the kids can concentrate on literacy. And we're looking at also getting like vibrating book packs. So if the story's reading and there's feeling or tactile movement with the story, they can put their hand on it and feel it while they read. So it's exciting. We just found out we're getting that grant.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that will be on next month's agenda to accept the donation from Geisinger.
That is the whole point of Daktronics, though, Brian. Mr. DeBasky said the scoreboard with the sponsors, it's going to be costing to the taxpayer.
Yeah.
And we're going to create a curriculum out of it. Pretty exciting. Very exciting. Mr. Kubuski, do you have anything? And thank you for your hard work on with all the policies.
Well, I just want to point out that was Dr. Suppan and Mr. Nabraki and their team. And of course, Jen, our secretary, has been quite busy typing them up.
Yes.
So I won't take credit. I know it's only the first reading, but thank you guys for working on all that.
Well, thank you, everybody, for all your hard work, 100%. Mr. Perfetto, do you have anything this month?
Nothing on the special ed
Thank you.
this month.
Before we move on to general recommended action items, I would like to, I spoke with our solicitors, Ray and Meyer. I had a few conversations with Dr. Suppan, over the past couple weeks. We're gonna look at changing our agenda just a little bit. And during our work sessions, we're gonna keep the committee reports in there, but under our regular monthly meetings, we're thinking about taking the committee reports out. And what we're still working on, it's still work in progress, but, just to get the board a little bit more transparent, we're talking about having Dr. Suppan's directors create reports for all the chairmen. And that the board members can read in a work session to update the public, try to give them, and if the chairperson would like the director to present to the public, that's fine too. That's at the chairperson's discretion, but we're gonna try switching up just a little bit. Making sure that we're getting everything, all the positive stuff that we're all working on very hard to get it out to the general public the best we possibly can. So we're looking forward to it just a little bit. General recommended actions items 1 through 61. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second on the question. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Bellio,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. Levesque,
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Kamis.
Yes.
I did have one question. The bleacher project, Mr. Cortez, when do we figure that'll be done? Do we have a date or no? Perfect. Thank you.
I think they said the ship date is quick, like it's within 2 weeks we'd get it once we do the PO purchase order, like it gets here. The only thing is, I think, right, Mr. Course, we have to assemble it, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We have to put them together?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Not we, Dave.
I love Mr. Cortez.
Dave's got to put it together.
That should keep you busy for a couple weeks.
But Dave, if it gets a little overwhelming for you and the staff, just please reach out to Dr. Suppan.
Brian will help you.
Yeah, Brian, will-
I have a power tool. I'm not sure if it works or not, but
whatever we have to do to help you get it put together for graduation, whatever. Please let us know. Thank you. Staff recommended action items 1 through 15. May I have a motion, please?
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second on the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
yes.
Mr. Bellio,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. Levesque,
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Kamis.
Yes. Finance recommended action items. Accept and approve the following as presented: bills for payment, the finance manager's report, and the treasurer's report. And item number 2, approve entering into investment management accounting agency agreement with Fidelity Bank. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Bellio,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
Ms. Levesque,
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mr. Kubuski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Kamis.
Yes. Righty, under new business, does anybody have anything they'd like to add for the good?
I just want to add that tomorrow is the unified track, was mentioned a couple of times. It's at 2:00. It is probably one of the most gratifying things you'll ever see is these children interacting with each other, and just a great event. If anybody can make it, I'll be there up at our high school, at the track at the high school, 2:00 it starts. Great event. Who is our coach for that, by the way? I forget her name.
Yeah, Abby Rodway, a high school gym teacher. She's running the whole thing.
Does a fantastic
Yep.
job.
Yeah.
Mr. Camus, I just want to point out, I spoke with Ms. Carey before I came in, and I couldn't hear our student speaker. But I believe it's tomorrow that they're coming to LCC on the LCTA bus. So they will be touring the building trades building, which is my building. So I will be happy to greet them tomorrow. So I'll be there. I just want to point that out. I'm excited to see them and talk with them. So I'll give them a good tour.
Awesome. Awesome. Great to hear. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Camus, I would like to remind the Valley West student body and parents that tomorrow, April the 9th, the Spartan baseball team will be hosting Pittston area at our home field. It's a Veterans Appreciation Day,
Nice.
and I believe there'll be color guard presentation as well as some members of the military members there.
That's amazing that coach and the team put that together. Thank you, Mr. Perfetto.
Perfetto, are you going to be pitching?
Last year I did, but not this year.
I'll be there. I'll represent you.
Are you pitching this year, Mr. DeBat?
I've been warming up, but I'm not sure if I can make it or not.
Oh,
All right, anybody else have anything they'd like? All right, our next scheduled meetings will be our May work session, May 6th, 2026. It'll be 7 o'clock here. And then our regular May meeting the following week will be May 13th at 7 o'clock.